My name is Tim Neese. I am a Defense Space Act lawyer. I've been an attorney since 2001. I'm also a veteran of the U.S. Army's Third Ranger Battalion out of Fort Benning, Georgia. My website is defensespaceactlawyers.com. Today I wanted to discuss advice, tips you should follow if you're injured and still overseas. A lot of times the information that you get while still overseas you'll need for your claim. So I want to discuss steps you should follow. Number one is, if you've been injured, seek medical attention overseas. There may be different varying levels of care. You might see a PA, a medic. They might have a clinic on base. Depending where you are, they might have you go off base, say if you're in Kuwait for medical care. The most important thing to do is see a doctor right away and get that documented, get the injuries documented, and get the care that you need while overseas. It is also important that when you leave whatever country you're in, leave with those medical records. Make sure you get copies of the medical records. Again, it might be from a medic, it might be from a PA, a nurse, a clinic, a hospital. Make sure you leave the country with copies of those medical records, and also any bills you may have for any medical care that you may have provided out of your own pocket. The next step is to make sure your supervisor is notified in writing of your injuries. Yes, I understand your supervisor may have been there. You may have told them. They may have told you to go to a clinic, but make sure you have it in writing. So email them a description of the accident, the pain that you're having, and where you received medical care or where you would like to go to get medical care. Keep that email for when you come home. You will probably lose access to any company email once you leave, so make sure you keep copies of it, or copy yourself on emails about the incident and your injuries. That's important because we may need to prove that you notified your employer within 30 days of the injury. That's the second step. The third step is to start looking for a doctor back in the United States close to where you live to treat your injuries. A lot of times for injuries involving the spine, it's a neurosurgeon or it's a spine orthopedic surgeon. We're talking about neck pain, mid-back pain, low back pain. Start looking for a spine orthopedic doctor if you have those injuries. There's hip and shoulder doctors, there's knee doctors. Orthopedic doctors are broken up into many different specialties. You wouldn't go to a knee doctor to treat a back injury. You wouldn't go to a spine specialist orthopedic to treat a knee injury. So make sure you do some research on your own and find a local doctor near you that's very experienced in that area. Look for doctors that have been treating for more than, say, 10 years. Look for doctors that are board certified in that specialty. Look for doctors that are fellowship trained, which is advanced training they receive. If you know someone has been to a doctor similar to the one you would like to go to, ask that person what they thought of their doctor. Ask around. The most important person for any Defense Space Act claim is not really your lawyer, it's your doctor. So research, find a good doctor. A lot of times you can go to a primary care doctor first and they can refer you. It's been my experience that a lot of contractors don't have a primary care doctor other than the VA. But a VA doctor is not going to be a good choice for your Defense Space Act claim. Sometimes it's hard to get them to write the reports that are needed. There's liens you have to worry about. And the carrier, the insurance carrier, provides Defense Space Act insurance for your employer, is responsible for paying for the bills. So look for a good doctor close to where you live. If you have a primary care doctor, as I mentioned, go to them. And start looking for these doctors while you're still overseas. Sometimes it may take a couple weeks to get in to see the doctor. So do some research. Find a good doctor. You call that doctor while you're still overseas. If you have a family member back home, a wife or a husband or a mom, have them look into good doctors in your community. The next step is leave with any evidence of your injury. If you're injured coming down a step, take a photo of the step. It just helps with your lawyer. It helps with the judge, when it comes down to it, to an opposing counsel. I like to show how a person was injured, and having some photographs of your mechanism of injury is important. Next, if there are any witnesses to your incident, to your injury, get their names, phone numbers, emails, address. It may be hard to find them when you need them. It could be months later, it could be a year later, and a lot of times contractors move, as you know, from one contract to another. If you have any statements that they've written that were included in an incident report, leave with those copies as well. Start looking for a Defense Space Act lawyer while you're still overseas, so that lawyer can have everything ready and file a claim in order to get you paid the compensation you deserve sooner rather than later. So talk to a Defense Space Act lawyer while you're still overseas. I talk to clients all the time while they're still overseas in Somalia, Syria, in Afghanistan, Iraq, Marshall Islands. So talk to a DBA lawyer before you leave if possible. It may not be possible if you're injured and you're shipped out a day later. It may not be possible, but it's best if you could talk to a Defense Space Act lawyer before you leave, so we can make sure that you have everything you need for your claim before you leave. Also, you might want to do this while you're still overseas. If you don't have all your pay stubs, say for the year before your injury, the 52 weeks before your injury, print them up. You may lose access to that once you leave the country as well. So I get all the pay stubs you can. Say if you work for a company for 2 years, get 2 years of pay stubs. If it's been 3, get 3. The most important one is the 52 weeks prior to the injury date. So if it's November 1st, 2023, you're injured, make sure we have all the pay records going back to the year prior from November. But if you have the ability to print more than 1 year, do those, because your lawyer will need those. They'll need to do a pay chart, and we need to make sure that our clients are paid at the correct rate, and we do that by showing all the pay statements. Any bonus checks are included as well. So make sure you print those up and have them printed up, send to your lawyer. Those are really the main tips. Again, my name is Tim Neese, DefenseSpaceActLawyers.com. You can call 772-283-8712. I'm available anytime. Again, we could talk by FaceTime or WhatsApp. Thank you very much.